Welcome to another episode of The Hot
Seat Pod.
That was smooth. Welcome to another episode of the Hot Seat Pod, your favorite NFL podcast. I'm Anthony, across the table. I got my boy, Willie Will.
Yes, sir. In the building. Got the snake behind me, too.
Mm-hmm. If you're wondering why you haven't seen us in a while, last week we had an episode, and it got, fucked up. Every time I posted it to YouTube, it would be, half the length of the episode. So YouTube's out to get us, man, but this one will be out. It's our first episode with the walls up.
Yes, sir.
Expect a better setup next week. We got a lot coming in. It's going to be a banger. We're on episode. I'm counting last week's episode, bro. I don't know.
34, right? So it'll be 34 this one?
34?
I think so. I think last week we said 33.
All right, 34, man. We got a kind of a
The Shaq episode.
Big Shaq, a little flex. We've hit 75K views on our YouTube channel.
Nice. 75K, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of views right there.
Think about that, man. That's as many people in Staples Center.
Staples Center, man. We're Staples Center.
We are your center for football, basketball, trivia. So make sure you guys I was smooth.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Put me in my bag, and I'll stay in there.
I'm going to zip it up for you.
You going to zip it up? Yeah. Let's just get straight into it. Today we're going to be talking about our quarterback rankings. A lot of cool prospects on this list. Do you want to start from the top end guys, or you want to start from the bottom?
We can start from the top end, guys, because I feel like those guys are, the most obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can't start at the top without starting with Caleb Williams. Then.
Exactly.
I know we've had some. I don't know if we had this discussion on the show about what your coworker said. But there's been some mixed feelings here about Caleb Williams. I feel like.
Yeah.
And this was I've obviously watched USC games. I've seen Caleb Williams things, but this was my first time actually sitting down and trying to come up with my own takes on Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And what I've kind of come down to is he has Patrick Mahomes' play style, but isn't Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to be a great prospect. I think he's definitely worthy of a number one pick. He isn't my favorite quarterback in this draft, and we'll get to that a little later.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to look good. What do you think about him?
Yeah, honestly, I pretty much 100% agree on what you're saying. He definitely has that Mahomes play style, but he just, obviously, more of a different quarterback. What I saw is I also think he has, the Lamar Jackson type of running ability, too.
Really?
Yeah, I think, from the film that I saw, he makes multiple defenders miss, a lot. So I found that caught my eye a little bit.
Lamar, though?
Well, not like Lamar.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say exactly Lamar. Yeah.
But you think he could get to the Lamar level when it comes to rushing?
When it comes to rushing, probably not.
Okay.
Probably not, yeah. I feel like he'd probably stay a little more back in the pocket. It's interesting because his first career play after Spencer Rattler went down in Bama was a QB run for 50 to 70 yards. I don't know.
What?
I don't know if anyone ever saw that, but yeah, it was a house call. So I just found that kind of interesting, him coming into college to play and getting a chance to play at USC. So, I mean, obviously he's QB1 prospect, but there's another guy on this list I like too, and I'm kind of scared that we're talking about the same guy. But
I hope we're not. I hope we're not. But
yeah,
kind of going a little into more detail on him. I feel like Chicago's a good spot for him. I think next season he legit has top 6 fantasy quarterback potential, as far as putting up numbers with the players around him. I also like Chicago because, as we saw last year, their O-line isn't the best. And I feel like out of the pocket, he might be the best quarterback prospect I've ever seen. like
Mhm.
out of the pocket, moving, making plays out of the pocket, the quick
Yeah.
reads. So I think with the playmakers he has around him, also adding in the fact that like they don't have an O line, like he's gonna be a dog next year. He's gonna have some highlights.
Dude, yeah, it's just I don't know. Like the O line is like so important. Like we saw like Bryce Young get like fucking exploded last season because he had no O line.
Yeah,
And like a first overall pick like that, like it's just like kind of scary. I feel like Caleb Williams, he's a little bit more of a different prospect. I feel like he's able to maneuver, like you said. But I mean, from the film, I saw that he can hold the ball too long, and it results in sacks. And I feel like this could relate back to Chicago if he goes to the Bears, or when he goes to the Bears. If he does hold the ball too long, it could result in a lot of down plays, a lot of a lot of loss of yardage as well. And he's a good playmaker too, but he makes a lot of he doesn't really go for the easy passes. That's
Yeah.
also what I saw too at USC.
I think you have players like Keenan Allen and DJ Moore though that could make those plays. Like I think that's why the Chicago situation is so perfect, because they put so many perfect players around him.
Yeah.
Like style wise.
Yeah, and I guess that's what kind of separates that team compared to Bryce Young's team, because you only got Adam Thielen on that team. So
Oh, this is something interesting that I saw while I was just like kind of looking at stuff I read about this. No number one pick quarterback has won a Super Bowl since who?
I don't know.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the times these number one pick quarterbacks don't really pan out the way that they should. Like everyone last year was talking about Bryce Young. Bryce Young really didn't have the year that we all thought Bryce Young was going to have,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking at some of them. 2001 was Mike Vick. 2002 was David Carr. We're talking number one pick quarterbacks here. 2003.
I mean, Cam Newton got to the bowl, but he never won it.
Yeah. And he had a great team around him, too.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer is another name. Like,
Yeah.
the number one quarterback really doesn't pan out. So I think. Oh, wait, no. Eli Manning won a Super Bowl, too. He was a number one pick.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of interesting because it's usually the number one quarterback isn't the number one in the draft,
Mhm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, honestly. I feel like nowadays it's like a lot of like overrated first number one picks,
And the thing that sucks about Chicago is like they have to pick Caleb Williams. Like if they liked someone else, they'd get shit on for picking like a Jaden Daniels, Drake May.
Yeah.
We could go into the next guy that's looking like he's going to be taken off the board. I don't think it's me or you's quarterback too, but there's a lot of talks that happened this weekend about J.J. McCarthy ending up being the number 2 pick in the draft.
So we're gonna talk about J.J. McCarthy.
But let's go into J.J. McCarthy, if that's okay with you, of course.
This is gonna be my spiciest one.
Let's go.
You want me to go first?
I don't have a hot take about this.
Yeah.
So
I think J.J. McCarthy is the Zach Wilson of this draft.
Bro, that is kind of accurate.
Yeah, dude. I don't think he's it, man. But let me go into like the good in him.
Okay.
What I saw, I think he does great in close game situations. I think he has a good throw time and accuracy as a quarterback. When it comes to like short mid pass, as well as his running game I feel like is a little bit better than normal quarterbacks.
Okay.
But I feel like this guy, he has like no arm strength when it comes to compared to other quarterbacks in this draft. I think when pressure comes and he scrambles, I feel like the ball comes out just not as like powerful as like a normal drop back. I think a lot of the times his throws, it's more appealing to the receiver than like, oh, like the receiver caught it than like, oh, his throw,
Okay.
Yeah. And then I just saw a lot of underthrows when watching his film.
I feel like his arm isn't as good when you compare it to the quarterbacks in this class. Like, especially the 5 we're going to talk about today. I feel like he probably has the least power.
Yeah.
But I think these 5 quarterbacks have, like, pretty ridiculous arms. Like, arm talent-wise, this draft is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, and here's why. I think J.J. McCarthy has a Brock Purdy ceiling and, like, a Garoppolo floor, like
Okay.
where he's a game manager for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what separates him from Zach Wilson, because Zach Wilson couldn't really game manage and didn't really have the arm talent. If I was the Commanders, I wouldn't draft him number 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not, like, mad at it either. I think it kind of makes sense. Like, team fit-wise, you have all these players. Like, you kind of want to take the most, like, like, if worst-case scenario, you got a young Garoppolo, like, I don't think that's bad for this team fit-wise. Obviously, I don't think he'll end up being Garoppolo. That's the floor. But average, I don't know where he'd fall in between Purdy and Garoppolo. I could be like anyone.
I could kind of see that, but I'm still gonna stick to the Zach Wilson take.
Okay.
It's just like something about him, man. I just don't feel good. And like before, like me watching, like doing my analysis on this,
you wanted him.
I kind of wanted him, yeah. Now, I really hope the Vikings take J.J. McCarthy, or if he falls second, because I would take any other quarterback in this draft other than him.
Damn. I guess once we finish talking about each prospect, I want to ask you, who do you want on the Broncos? Because you guys might reach for one of these quarterbacks,
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you want to talk about next?
I guess we could talk about who I kind of saw would be kind of trending that second quarterback take, and that's Drake May.
All right.
Yeah.
This is your guy?
It's not my guy. It's not my guy. Do we have the same person?
My guy's Drake May.
Oh, okay.
I think Drake May is the best quarterback in this class.
Okay.
I think he has the best arm in this class.
Yeah.
And I think if he gets put in the right situation, he has the best upside. I think he's going to get doomed because he's probably going to end up in New England.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot there that kind of excites me. But, like, if he could go somewhere where there's a little bit more help around him, I think Drake May is going to be a monster, bro. Like, he has the arm of, like, Josh Allen. Like, it's stupid how hard he could throw the ball. And when you look at these guys, like, Caleb Williams was playing with, like, top-end talent. J.J. McCarthy obviously was playing with top-end talent. Even, like, Penix, Bo Nix, they got receivers that are going to be drafted. Jaden Daniels obviously has dudes. Drake May didn't have that. He didn't have, like, a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's going to get a little underrated in this draft because he doesn't have these guys. Like, you watch Jaden Daniels highlights, and you see Jaden Daniels balling, but you also see, like, Malik Neighbors making plays and stuff like that. You don't really see that with Drake May's receivers.
Yeah. Yeah. Drake May, I really like him too. I like his aggressiveness. I think he's good in navigating into the pocket, as well as a great deep ball thrower. You saw a lot in college where he threw a bunch of bombs out to his receivers. I think he can make some questionable decisions when it comes when he gets under pressure, but I mean, who doesn't? Also, he has the least amount of starting experience out of all these quarterbacks.
Really?
Yeah, so I found that kind of interesting. But I do have comparisons for him as like a Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, like hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I like Herbert too. I feel like he has his arm.
Yeah, I feel like if you put those two players together, then you'd get Drake May.
Damn.
So you'd get the GOAT.
2 top 10 quarterbacks. And you get this rookie that's going not even number 1.
Yeah. But I like him as well, so it's pretty hard. My number 1 guy was between this and some other guy.
Damn, so Caleb Williams is your number 3?
Well, I mean, overall, like I'm probably still gonna take Caleb Williams. So number 2, I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then who's your guy? Let the people know.
Yeah, so that guy is Jaden Daniels, baby.
Okay, that's who you're riding with?
Yeah, that's my guy right there.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, only threw 4 interceptions in his senior season. I think he has a great deep ball release as well as the accuracy, and he has, a elite running ability. I put this guy as like a Lamar Jackson comparison.
Really?
I feel like this guy could come out to be Lamar Jackson in the future.
I could see it.
Yeah, he is a little more skinnier, that's for sure. But like his aggressiveness and like he's willing to take those big hits too, and we saw that at LSU. He's fast as well and smart with the ball. I feel like in the NFL though, he's gonna have to like limit that a little bit. I feel like those could result in turnovers if he's not too careful.
Okay.
But yeah, Jaden Daniels, I think he's the Lamar Jackson in this draft.
So what I kind of gathered from Jaden Daniels to me is he seems like he's going to be a really good fantasy quarterback. Like I don't really see the upside as far as like winning you games the same way like Lamar can.
Yeah.
But I think like out of these guys, like Jaden Daniels has like really high fantasy upside. Again, like being as good of a rusher and having as good of a deep ball. And he really relies on that deep ball. Like he doesn't really throw those middle passes that well, which could be a problem in the NFL. What I do like about him, and this is going to sound like a diss, but I feel like he has like average arm talent, average game management, but we don't see a lot of quarterbacks with his running ability have average arm talent or average. Like I'm talking average at an NFL level. Like arm talent wise, he'll probably be a QB 15 to something like that. And with his legs, adding that, it makes it pretty scary. I got a question though. You had him as your number one. You think Jaden Daniels would still be like this perennial top 3 quarterback if he stayed at Arizona State? Because he had a lot of help in LSU, bro.
Yeah. I feel like when these quarterbacks, they do need a change when it comes to schools. I feel like he'd be on that same level, but I don't think he would have escalated as far as he has like at LSU. I feel like LSU, they have a good system. I mean, they have the track record with all these like former LSU alumni going to the NFL.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Jaden Daniels, he just needs to change. He just needed a school change and a new system where he could really unleash his full potential. So
it's crazy how like all these quarterbacks were transfers.
Yeah.
Like Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
It is crazy, but yeah, I mean
they're all kind of old too when it comes to like age. Yeah.
I want to say the youngest is. Do you know who the youngest is?
I want to say JJ McCarthy.
It might be his baby's face though.
Or maybe Drake May because he had the least starting experience.
Drake May.
One of those two.
JJ is 21 January 30th. Drake May's 21 August 30th.
I feel like it's Drake May.
Yeah, it is Drake May. Damn, I didn't know that. I feel like he's been in the elite echelon for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go into the last two.
Yeah.
Which are Penix and Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you take?
Out of those two,
I feel like this is probably the guy. Like one of these guys is probably who the Broncos is going to end up with next season.
Yeah. So I mean, if I were the Broncos, I'd probably pick Penix.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Ball.
Yeah.
That's my dog.
I know it's your dog. I know you.
That's my dog.
Yeah. The only thing that scares about me with him is his injury history.
Yes.
So yeah, I know he did tear his ACL 2 times.
4 season-ending injuries in his college career.
Yeah, that's scary, man.
That's crazy.
And he's 24 years old. So I mean, I feel like honestly for quarterbacks still they have a little bit more of like a better range when it comes to age. So I don't really see that as a problem. But Penix, to talk about his pros, I think he's a very smart quarterback. I feel like he's one of the best, if not the best quarterback arm thrower in this draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I was going to write something like that. But I feel like I've been glazing him so much. Like, I didn't want
You wanted me to say it, huh?
I didn't want to be the one. I didn't want to be the guy. I'll let you be that guy.
Yeah, no, Anthony actually texted me to say this. So.
Nah, no. Don't snitch. I paid you that 20.
Nah, yeah, I mean, just besides that, I think he has good poise in the pocket, and also his leadership is
Uh-huh.
just really good. Um, that's part of the reason why Washington made it so far. And basically, my player comparison is Tua with a bigger arm. So,
To a bazooka.
yeah, so
Your player comparisons are kind of crazy.
as in like accurate or like
Like crazy. Like Jaden Daniels being Lamar, Drake May being Josh Allen, and
no,
Justin Herbert,
I guess
and
those.
Penix being Tua with a bigger arm. But like these dudes, this is gonna be the greatest. And this is like when you put like 99 overalls in
Yeah,
your franchise.
I mean, I guess my comparisons are like ceilings, right?
Okay.
So, I feel like that's his ceiling. I feel like all these guys are. That's what their ceiling is.
Ceiling. All right, got
Yeah.
you. I had just some takes. I do think he has the best deep ball in the draft. I do
Mhm.
think he's the best at making the reads. I understand that he played with like Rome, 4 season-ending injuries. A lot of people like say like he relies too much on the deep ball.
Mhm.
My argument to that is like if you were playing with Rome, like why the fuck would you not throw it deep? You know,
Yeah.
like that's your scheme. Like you're gonna play your scheme, and then also a lot of receiver talent. Where his draft capital is right now, he's probably gonna end up being a late first, early second round quarterback.
Mhm.
Anywhere he goes is gonna have a lot of wide receiver talent, you know, unless he goes to the Broncos. But
We got Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds and Cortland Sutton are gonna be shacking. Josh Reynolds might go for 1,000 next year.
That's 2 towers right there, man.
Cold. But yeah, I do feel like anywhere he goes, he's gonna have to deal with or he's gonna have like pretty solid quarterbacks.
Yeah. for sure.
I mean receivers. Excuse me. All right, Bo Nix, the
Bo
last
Nix.
guy.
Yeah. Bo Nix.
It's boring. He's so
Yeah,
boring.
he's on my bottom tier on
Really?
this list. Yeah, for sure. Even though he only threw 3 interceptions last year, I feel like, and I guess I'll say my comparison right now. I feel like he's kind of like a Brock Purdy type of ceiling guy.
Damn, you gave people Lamar, Josh
Yeah.
Allen, Justin Herbert, combination,
Yeah.
fucking Mahomes.
You know, I'd have throw Purdy and Zach Wilson on this. So
Either you're boom or bust. Is JJ
I'm just hating the white guys. I'm just hating the blondies.
just not Drake May because you made Drake May fucking
Yeah,
god.
because Drake May's a cool name. Yeah, I mean, this guy, I saw that he's at best at deep and mid ball throw. I think he gets the ball out pretty fast. Although I think he can make some pretty wild throws when he's under pressure, and also I feel like he can step into his throws more just to create more power and accuracy when it comes to the games. He's 24 years old as well, but I mean, in this QB draft class, it's honestly like not that big of a deal.
He's the oldest though.
He is the oldest.
From what I gathered on him, like he has no real like flaw in his game, but he also doesn't really have anything that's like jumps off the board.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be a cool quarterback wherever he goes. I think his ceiling is a high level backup, like just someone who's like our starting guys hurt. At least we got Bo Nix, you know.
Like a Gardner Minshew.
Yes, I was gonna put Gardner Minshew, but I think there's Bo Nix might be a little smarter with a little less arm talent. But
I'd
I would
agree
love
with
to
that.
see him get drafted pretty much anywhere in the second round and be a backup there. Like the Giants, I think that would be a good spot for him, especially if they want to move on from Daniel Jones. But there's
Yeah.
also no rush to make that decision if you draft a Bo Nix. Or
Mhm.
even like the Raiders.
Mhm.
There's some good spots. You could have Gardner Minshew and Gardner Minshew on the same team.
Back to back.
So yeah, you said like Penix would be the guy you'd want the Broncos to land. Is that like realistic, or would you rather them draft a skill position player at their pick number
I mean, if I were the GM,
pick 12?
what I would want to do is obviously trade up to get a better quarterback.
Okay.
What I really want is Jaden Daniels. I think he'd be great, but realistically, we're probably either going to keep our pick or trade down. In this situation, I think Caleb, Jane Daniels, and Drake May are going to be taken off the board by the time we pick. So out of those three, I would definitely pick Penix.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What about this situation, right? Let's say the Commanders draft J.J. McCarthy. Patriots draft Drake May. Are you trying to give it all up to trade up to 4 and get Jaden Daniels? Because it's so interesting right now. Like, right now in my mock draft, I have Drake May falling to 13 after the J.J. McCarthy news. Because, like, look at these teams. Like, he's not going to get drafted to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
He's not going to get drafted to the Chargers. He's not going to get drafted to the Giants because they paid what's-his-face. He's not going to get drafted to the Titans. Falcons just paid Kirk Cousins. He's not going to get drafted to Chicago. He's not going to get drafted to the Jets. So the Vikings is the spot. So you could really trade up to any of those picks. Like the Falcons, I feel like don't really need their pick anymore.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Jets. Like if they could jump them, but
dude, I would totally take Drake May too.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Penix. I would take any of those guys. I love it.
But with your pick, you would want to take a quarterback at 12?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's our necessity at the moment. You know, we already let Russ go. I don't think we should roll with Jason Stidham for a season, you know. I think we should go out and get a young guy and develop him for a couple of years and then make a run in the playoffs.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go into ranking these guys.
Yeah.
We could just both go from the bottom, work our way up slowly.
Yeah.
My 6th ranked quarterback in this draft, probably yours. I got Bo Nix.
I got McCarthy.
You have McCarthy under Nix?
I say he's a Zach Wilson in this draft, man.
Shit.
And I wasn't lying on that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What about, does their age play a factor in that, or are you going straight off skill?
I'm just going straight off skill.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have this instinct, man. It's just my guts is telling me. And also just looking at the film and everything too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating on him, but I just don't have a good feeling about him going to the pros.
I think like if he got drafted to the Broncos, I think that's a good value. I think if they draft him at 2 over like Jaden Daniels and Drake May, then that pick is gonna look so fucking stupid.
I feel like that's gonna be a pick where they talk about it for many years.
We're gonna see that picture of the draft board.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy. So would 5 be Bo Nix?
5 would be Bo Nix.
5 for me would
Average
be
Joe.
I put my boy here. I put Penix here.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at it different. I just don't see a world where Penix goes higher than these guys. And to me, where Penix is going to be drafted, he's probably going to end up being a backup. Like, I think JJ is going to get more opportunities in his career.
Really?
Like, skill-wise, I think I take Penix. I don't think skill-wise there's a lot of quarterbacks better than Penix in this draft. But I think with age, with opportunity, with what I could see them doing in the NFL when they get there, then I feel like I got to put Penix 5, especially because he's a lefty and he's old.
Yeah. Okay.
4 is where I have JJ.
Yeah. 4 is where I got Penix, so pretty easy over there.
I feel like that's like one tier.
Yeah.
JJ, Penix, Bo.
Definitely.
Top 3.
Top 3.
You going Caleb, number 3?
Nah, so 3 I got Drake May.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I feel like a lot like these guys from 1 to 3, it can honestly bounce around for me either. I do have Caleb Williams, the number 1 still. I still think he's probably the best quarterback in his draft anyway. It's kind of similar situation to Marvin Harrison. Yeah, I got Drake May at 3. Who do you have?
I've got Jaden Daniels at 3. Again, like you said, like if you told me in 20 years Jaden Daniels was the best quarterback out of this class, I would not be surprised. But I had to put him at 3. But I put Caleb at 2, actually.
Okay.
I like Drake May the most out of all the quarterbacks in this draft. I'm going to stand on that. I think he's the best arm talent. I think if Drake May was drafted in Chicago, bro, he's throwing for 3,800 next year.
What?
Like, he would be cold there.
I don't think so, man. I feel like they need to fix their line first.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it'll look good with Caleb there.
Yeah.
But
the thing with, like, Drake May is, like, and he's from UNC. It's just, like, it's hard to, like, for at least for me to, like, believe in a quarterback coming out of that college. I mean,
Sam Howell,
exactly. Like, he had a good fantasy season, but now they're looking to take another quarterback. And then before that, you got Mitch Trubisky. Like, I don't know. Like, it's
I
just
forgot
like
that Trubisky.
last couple quarterbacks they took out of UNC have not been great, you know. But I feel like I kind of trust Drake May though. I feel like he can kind of turn things around, you know.
Ty Chandler went there. Michael Carter, the GOAT. Hey, Javonte Williams.
I'm talking about just quarterbacks though.
Okay.
Yeah. Nah, yeah. Other positions, yeah, I could see it for sure. So
You're not gonna respect T.J. Yates,
T.J. Yates, man, the GOAT.
the GOAT. Julius Peppers.
Julius Peppers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I feel like coming out of the small schools, it's either boom or bust. And everything I've seen from Drake May's tape shows me boom, 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 boom. Like, I think he's going to be cold.
Okay.
Bro, Lawrence Taylor went here.
Yeah, he's probably the best one out of that college.
He might be the best one of all time. That's all I got, man. Trey White signed with the Rams. Grade it.
I think he's washed now, so I'm going to give it like a C.
I'm going to give it a B because they don't really have any real corners.
Yeah.
And now they could address something different in the draft.
I feel like this is going to be like a similar situation where like we sign like AJ Bouye or like we sign like Kyle Fuller type of thing. I don't think he's going to perform as good as he had before in his career.
Okay.
But I think it'll be, you know, like you said, it's a pickup like where they needed a defensive back. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's washed though too. He is pretty washed. He was so cold like 2 years ago.
yeah, then
It's
like
crazy.
he tore his ACL.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you guys for listening to a quick episode of the Hot
See.
Pod. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow. Will, you got your line, man. Say it, man. Let them know.
Run the play, baby.
Good.